My mind right now just panicked. I was like, how the hell do I intro this podcast? What do I say? Do I say, what's up, everybody? No, that's Greg Miller. What do I say? Hey, everyone, welcome to... Wait, Cozy wrote it down. Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast from Affable Idiots. I'm one of your hosts, Chad Michael. Conflicted on whether or not I bring up this website and recommend it, or whether it might... I don't know what it is. Innes, and we have with us our regular co-host here, Adam. What are your feelings right now? Tell me everything you're feeling, Gumbert.
Man, there are two things, right? We, in our pre-show ramble, ran across quite an interesting website. And I'm not going to say the name of the website because it does keep telling me at the top of my browser, not secure.
It is not secure. It is not secure.
But I will say, if you look into the Mystery Incorporated, like the cast of characters that hang out with Scooby-Doo, and look for one of those characters' real name and type in that person's real name.com, you will find a fascinating website, which hasn't been updated since 2020, but it seems very Christian political, but they review movies and books, and it's wild. This is a crazy website, Chad.
It's Christian political, and the headlines are, they're like, they could either be like super Trumpy, or it could be like, I'm confused on their stance, and I don't want to click any of it because I don't want to like validate this without knowing what I'm supporting. But like, there's a headline like, the 4 presidents Donald Trump might most be like. Why Donald Trump's victory terrifies some of your ethnic minority friends. And that could be a like, well, they're freaking out over nothing. Or it could be like, well, here are the real reasons why they are afraid and things you should be considering too. I don't know. This is so...
It plays both sides very hard, where it's like, here's how the Electoral College works in America and why Trump's going to win. And it's also like, I reviewed Us, and there weren't enough women in the movie about the black people. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
So you're pro-women, pro-black people, but also other parts of the website maybe love Trump?
But then there's a headline that says Last Week Tonight tackles Trump with the subline of pretty much the funniest takedown of Trump I've seen. And I'm like, oh, okay.
They're playing both sides.
That's right above Superman speaks up about the refugee crisis. And all of these things on this one website that has links to podcasts that range from something called Origami Elephants to something called Bible Bites. And I don't know what this is or how to feel about it.
Yeah, it's very much like, they're like, don't talk about these things at Thanksgiving dinner. They're like, how about we only talk about those things, but you don't know what side we're coming from because we're actually on both sides at all times. We're always talking on both sides.
No matter what, it's a
weird website.
No matter what position you hold, it's a trap.
Either they're trying to upset everybody or nobody at the same time. I don't understand.
You can catch us on fucking, what day is it? Sunday. My brain, we'll get into this during playtime, but my brain is toast. Twitch.tv/AffableIdiots is where you can find us most Sunday evenings around 8:30 Eastern time, which is the exact time it was when I started reading that sentence. It's rare that we hit that exactly. Or if you want to listen to us on demand, you can do that on YouTube and podcast services, 9 a.m. on Tuesdays as well. I'll get out ahead of it. We will not have an episode next week. Both Cozy and I are out on vacation. Cozy doing the not Summer Game Fest, IGN Live event, and me, surprise, doing Destiny's Raid with friends in Rhode Island. So, no podcast next week. We've got a few things to talk about today, some games, a lot of games to talk about, and not enough time to do anything in our lives. But we're going to start today by talking
real quick,
about...
Chad.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you too much. I had one more thing before we start the podcast. So I told you there were multiple things. We were talking about the name of SVU characters and all kinds of stuff. So I saw an article earlier today that there are testing. They have animal trials going now, and they expect it to be a commercial, like people can buy it in 2030. But it's a drug that regrows human teeth. And I'm very conflicted about that, because the idea of that, of like always being able to have your own natural teeth sounds cool, but also like I have a tooth that got pulled. I don't know if I trust a drug to grow a new one in its place. I feel like something bad's going to happen.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Grows a vampire tooth, and now suddenly you have to drink blood all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I get the idea of like, let's regrow human bone or in teeth, but it's like, do I trust It seems like a bad idea. And they're testing it on animals, which kind of scares me at the moment. But like maybe it's not as crazy as I think it is. I don't know.
It feels like there's more than just growing the tooth that needs to happen. Like there are a lot of other things. Like we need to figure out how to tell your body to put the tooth where it's supposed to go, rather than growing a tooth in the middle of your pancreas or something. We have to like, and also the orientation that it's supposed to be in, and how to make sure it squeezes and fits in there, and what kind of tooth goes there. Don't put a molar in the front of my mouth. Like that's gonna be weird.
What if it just re-kickstarts your body's natural tendency to make adult teeth? So you go through the teething process as an adult. So your adult teeth get pushed out by new adult teeth. That could be crazy.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just
I feel I have the same feeling about there's a similar treatment. Apparently all cats die because of disease, not from like quote unquote old age. They all die from some liver thing. And there's someone in Japan or Korea who is like cured it. And now cats can live like 3 times as long, and so they're like testing it now. But I'm like, there are many other things. If you think about even human life, you see a human that is 90 years old, and you're like, oh fuck, you are almost dead. If that human lived to be 300 years old because we cured whatever their liver was, having that was killing them, like they can be 300 years old, but they will literally be like just a pile of dust rotting away on a bed. And it's like, we have to figure out how to like give us more collagen throughout our life. We have to figure out how to keep our cells reproducing at a good rate. There are a lot of other things before we make us live longer. And I feel like now we're going to have a bunch of fucking pet cemetery cats starting out in fucking Japan that are living to be way too old and killing the shit out of the humans. And they're going to spread.
We just need people to live later. We can get every human being on the planet to live to 75. Like, we'll cure cancer, we'll do this. But once you hit 75, you're on your own. Whatever happens. I think that's a good balance. Yeah. Also, with the first story, because we're going to talk about the state of play for Sony, I ordered them not in the way that they were shown, but I did order of, I think, least interesting to most interesting for us. So the start is third-party stuff. Then we go into some VR. Then we go into interesting third-party stuff, and then we go into Sony exclusives. So just a heads up, that's how it's ordered.
Well, let's jump into it then. Main quest, state of play time. Taylor Lyles at IGN brings us these. So there was a state of play. When did this happen? Even Tuesday, Thursday,
last week.
It was
Thursday, I think.
Again,
time.
My brain is not with my body.
Yeah.
Ballad of Antara is a, quote, high-fidelity, free-to-play action RPG releasing next year. I watched this live, the whole thing. I don't remember what this hell thing
That's why these are at the beginning.
Okay, cool. Upcoming open-world RPG Infinity Nikki is getting a beta test sometime in Q3 2024. I might have huffed paint before this, and I don't remember any
one where
of
you
this.
Dress up in your clothes. It's like a clothes game. I don't fucking know.
It's a clothes game.
It's like a game where you put clothes on the person. Sure.
Originally announced at Gamescom Opening Night Live 2023, Everstone Studios' martial arts adventure game Where Winds Meet is coming to PS5 too. What the fuck? There's an alternate universe, and I saw a different state of play.
These were all there, buddy. I promise you.
Omega Force's hack and slash video game series Dynasty Warriors is back as the developer and his publisher Koei Tecmo announced Dynasty Warriors Origins, which is coming out sometime next year. Are you a Dynasty Warriors man?
No, I've tried multiple times. I can't get into it, but the people who are into it are weirdos about it. They're like, oh, I love cutting up these 100 dudes at a time. And I'm like, I can't find fun more than 20 minutes, but I know people are into it.
One of my roommates in college was real into Dynasty Warriors.
It's like 1 in every 20 people are just, they love Dynasty. So just get like 100 random people in a room, and then at least 5 of those fuckos love Dynasty Warriors.
Yep. And they view the other 95 of us as the giant horde of people they have to take out.
Oh, man.
Because that's all Dynasty Warriors is. Path of Exile 2 developer and publisher Grinding Gear Games flaunted a new gameplay trailer for Path of Exile 2 alongside an early access release date of late 2024. In addition to a new look at the game and a release window, Grinding Gear Games also revealed that Path of Exile 2 is headed to PS5 and will include couch co-op support. Now, Adam.
This is a cool one.
This was a cool one. So much so that until the words Path of Exile came up on the screen, I was like, oh, fuck, this must be the expansion that they talked about for Diablo 4. Because this game looks exactly like fucking Diablo. And so I was wrestling with it in my brain the whole time. I was like, is is this an update for Diablo 2 remastered? Because I know that because they showed couch co-op on the screen. It was like, yeah, people were upset that they didn't have couch co-op on it, but it was a faithful remaster of the original, which didn't. And then, yeah, at the very end, Path of Exile 2, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, because Path of Exile 1, so the first one's free to play. I would assume this one be as well. But it was in a time when we didn't have Diablo 4.
Yeah.
So this other company made a very, very, very good, like it's very popular, a Diablo-like game. And they announced 2 or whatever. So I'm excited for this. Again, I played the first one, had a good time with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with having Diablo 4 be out and putting expansions in, also having Path of Exile 2, because Path of Exile 1 is very good. So I'm excited for it, because the first one is surprisingly like, oh wow, this free-to-play game is actually really good and really deep. So excited for 2.
I feel like I saw Path of Exile at PAX. Like, do they have a board game or a tabletop game at PAX?
Again, it's the thing where it's been around for probably 8 years or something at this point.
I also
so
get Path of Exile and Pillars of Eternity. They're both PoE games, PoE games. Path of Exile, Pillars. I get those two mixed up all the time. That and Divinity Original Sin 2. Divinity 2?
DOS 2.
On the Beach.
Yep. Path of Exile 1 came out in 2013. So I would not be shocked if they had a board game at PAX. I will just say that.
Okay. Next up, I think this is where I fucking just passed out. Not passed out, but like my mind went to an alternate universe. Capcom shares a new look at Monster Hunter Wilds, which not only provided another look at this gorgeous project, but also confirmed new monsters that will be featured. This is where I was like, oh yeah, I can tune out. Because I'm not a Monster Hunter boy.
Again, it's wild how successful World... I mean, good for them. Capcom's been on a roll. But like, not everybody. A lot of people were like, World is so great. And I just like, I can't. Dude, I play a game for 20 hours. I'm like, I just don't get it. Y'all are crazy. I don't like this shit. So this one, again, looks cool. They always look cool. So I'm happy it's coming out. And it'll probably be a big deal. Probably sell better than World did. But I just can't. I can't do it. I don't want to fight that monster 30 times in a row to get a fucking Grieve or whatever to put on my arm. I'm good.
World was... I imagine people feel this way about Destiny, but World, when it went free on Game Pass, I played it for like an hour. And it was just immediately smash you right in the face with a hammer of, here are 45 trillion different systems in this game that and you're going to go to this vendor for this, and this vendor for this, and this vendor for this. And this is where, and I was just like, what the fuck? Let me play the game. I don't know what all this is, and I'm scared, and I'm terrified and overwhelmed. And I was like,
It is good when you have that one friend who's like, I've played 7,000 hours of Monster Hunter. Then it's like, okay, well, he's like, just do this, this, and this, and you'll have fun. And so, yeah, that's fun. I wish you were here all the time, but you're not. So.
This next one.
This next part. These next 2 games. I love how they were like, we're doing a state of play featuring PS5 and PSVR 2 games.
Kind of.
I bet we never get that headline again. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Alien Rogue Incursion is out this holiday on PSVR 2. This looks like it could like make you poop your pants.
I've never seen a trailer. Again, because I love Alien. I'm like, that could be a good idea. Alien VR. And then the trailer comes up and it's like not finished product, but it comes out in 6 months and it ran at like 5 frames a second. I'm like, why is the trailer at 5 frames a second right now? What is happening? That game will probably be, nobody will play it. It is what it is. Again, I like that idea, but it looked bad. I'm like, this comes out when? Wait, how long?
That's one of those, it's one of those weird things about VR where the novelty of the scale and immersion when you put the headset on completely makes you forget about how shitty a lot of the environments look. And like I've playing Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, whatever the fuck they call it, playing that in VR the first time, I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm in real life. And then I watched footage that I recorded of it to like match up with the camera that was looking at me. I was like, oh, this looks like garbage. But you just don't realize that when you're in it. It totally overrides it. So it might play or feel better when you're in it than it actually looked. Who knows?
Hope it's more than 5 frames a second. That would be a big help, true. I think.
Next one here, Behemoth is the next project from Skydance Games, the developer behind The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, which that did gangbusters and was critically loved. Not. Set in the Forsaken Lands, which is described as a once great civilization that is now just a barren wasteland. Players will endure both the cold and hostile enemies as they uncover the dark secrets hidden there. The official website reveals the game will be released sometime in October for PSVR 2, in addition to MetaQuest and Steam VR.
I believe the same thing with Alien, which is it's coming to everything else, which is like Another state of play where like there's straight up there are no exclusive PSVR 2 games anymore. You had them at launch and then they never again. I will say this one, if you're gonna give me a VR game, I do like the stupid VR games where you like throw the sword in the air and then catch it and then stab it, dude. I think those are always fun and novel. So it's one of those, but also it has the Shadow of the Colossus where there's just big fucking monsters out in the world that are like too big to fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, I mean, it feels very apparent to me that PSVR 2 was like, we put it out and we're done with it.
Yep. Which sucks.
Yeah. I feel like it's not hard to, I don't know. I'm not a developer, but I feel like it's not hard to like once a year give an exclusive or something.
I think the problem is the cost benefit thing. Like the install base is
probably not worth it.
Which is why these are coming to MetaQuest and Steam VR as well and not being exclusive because they're like, there are, I don't know, probably 3-4 million people who actively use a VR headset, and that might be a generous estimate. And so if you're releasing a game for an audience that small and 2% buys your game, whoop.
Yeah, not worth it.
Marvel Rivals. One Overwatch-looking game coming to PS5. Closed beta set for July. In addition to PC and Mac, the team shooter was confirmed to receive a PS5 version when the game eventually releases. Cool.
I'm very excited. I tried to get into the early access beta. Couldn't. They're going to do another beta, so we'll see if I get into that. This game looks cool. Again, I will say, out of the games that look like Overwatch shown at this event, this was the one that interested me, and maybe not the other one. But I've heard good things about it. It's coming to consoles now as well, so I'm like, this looks cool. I think like this is a good way to show off a fucking multiplayer trailer. Where it's like, here's a character, here's them using their abilities. Goodbye. It's been a minute. Have a good day. I think that works great. I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah. This one is free to play, right? Or will be when it comes out?
I think it should be. Yeah.
That's a important.
That's gonna
thing
help a lot.
Yep. We saw a new trailer for Until Dawn, which is coming fall 2024, slated to arrive on PC and PS5. This one I'm conflicted about. This game is fun as hell to play. It's it's that slasher thing that set off a bunch of dark picture anthology games and The Quarry and all those kinds of fun things. But this particular one looks so much, I don't know, maybe I expected more of an RE2 remake kind of thing, but it looks like just texture upgrades. And not even, it's still, I don't know, it still fucking looks like a PS4 game to me. It didn't look particularly impressive visually. And they're not hiring the voice actors again, so they're definitely not getting them to re-record audio or anything like that. So this has to be basically a straight up remaster.
Which is cool. I think they need to do it sooner than later, because I do believe this game was delisted in a lot of territories. For the PS4 version was delisted. Like if you didn't already own it, you can't get it right now because they want you to buy the new one, which is, you feel about that how you will. But get that out sooner rather than later. So if I wanted to play the game, I actually have an option to play the game instead of not being able to buy it. But I'm with you. I mean, it's going to be basic ass. It's 4K now. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep.
That's fine.
Speaking of games that are getting remastered and look like just a PS4 ass version of that, Konami revealed that its highly anticipated project, a remake of Silent Hill 2, will be released on October 8th for PC and PS5. That game does not look good.
No, not at all. I don't know if it's so I don't have nostalgia for original Silent Hill 2. So this doesn't bother me one way or the other. Don't give a shit. I'll move on or whatever. But I know like a lot of those original fans are like, oh, they just turned it into something else or whatever. I'm just like, the problem is when you get Resident Evil knocks remakes out of the park, and then you get, again, I like Bloober Team, but they feel like a AA studio and not a AAA. We're making the most amazing Game of the Year contender remake like Capcom does. It's just like, it feels like lesser than. It's like the other horror franchise is doing it better, and you're just like, Bloober Team's going to try it, I guess.
Here's the other thing about it too, is that like Silent Hill 2, I don't know anything about the game. I haven't played it. I don't have a connection to it, but the guy in that game looks like straight up, we have Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil at home. And so when you're remastering a game that has him in it, that came out the year after a Game of the Year nominated Resident Evil 4, which has a fucking stellar looking Leon Kennedy character model in it, and then these two things are side by side now, and she's like, oh yeah, that's a bad look.
Yeah, you've either got to be like, we are just remastering it, and if you're remaking it, you just got to be like, I hope no one put out a Game of the Year contender remake in the last couple of years because we'll look like idiots. Because that's again, I wouldn't care one way or the other. I'm not like, oh, this is so bad, I refuse to buy it. I was going to get this regardless, but it does look suspect next to Resident Evil 4. That's all I'll say.
It does. Continuing trend, Sony Santa Monica's 2022 action game God of War Ragnarok is arriving on PC on September 19th. God of War Ragnarok's PC version will include Valhalla DLC, which was on my shortlist for Game of the Year last year. PC-centric features include ultra-wide monitors, unlocked frame rates, super sampling text like DLSS and FSR. And there is also a reveal in the PlayStation blog post that players must have a PlayStation Network account to play the PC version of God of War Ragnarok. They're doubling down on this.
That's wild. And the thing is, great game. It's a single-player game, so it don't really make sense. It's not like Ghost of Tsushima where there was a multiplayer section of it, so you could try to convince people that it had to have it. It's obviously what they just want to do for now on, which is fine. It's their game. They're allowed to do whatever they want. But I just want an answer for because I looked at the numbers of countries that have PSN or have access to PSN and the ones who don't. And it's like 3 times as many countries don't have access to PSN as do. Now, of course, the United States being such a massive land thing that, it's not area, it's the number of countries. But like, do you have a solution for the people who can't get PSN and want to buy your game? Or is it just like, fuck them, they don't spend enough money, it doesn't matter? That's the only question I have. Because I can buy it because I live in the US, but 157 other people in other countries cannot say the same thing. I'm like, do you have a solution for your single player game or not?
The selfish thing for me that would make this okay, again, okay with an asterisk, is if this is step 1 in them bringing trophy support, like official trophy support to their games on PC. Like if I could play something on my Mac or a Steam Deck or something like that, and I get trophies for it, that's a plus. Or 2, even better, not just cross save, if I could just transfer my saves back and forth, but even transfer like cross buy if I buy it once on PlayStation. Because I would love to, I have the PlayStation Portal. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. I have the PlayStation Portal, is great, remote play, whatever. And then I would love to have a Steam Deck type thing for my PlayStation stuff. Or in the future, as these portable PCs are getting better and better, like maybe I'll just get a portable PC. But again, all my games I play, I bought on PlayStation Network. I don't have a Steam library. If I could buy it once there and then play it on the road here too, that would be fucking great. But I feel like that's a lot more difficult and doesn't necessarily justify all the damage they're doing right now with blocking 177 countries from buying their product.
It's wild for them. They're going to be like, look at the amount of accounts we had people sign up compared to like, well, you could have had more sales if you just didn't require that, but they won't mention that in the annual meeting. So like, oh, look at this number. Don't pay attention to the money we didn't get.
Yep.
This is all that matters. Whatever. I mean, it's all technically extra money because it's a new market. PC people couldn't buy it before, now they can. So even if it's only 100 people who sign up for PSN to play this game, that's 100 more that you didn't have before. So whatever, I guess.
Sony unveiled a new gameplay trailer for Firewalk Studios' upcoming 5 vs 5 multiplayer shooter Concord. It shows glimpses of the various characters you can play, each with weapons and playstyles catering to different players. As Sony previously reiterated, Concord will be released on PC and PS5 on August 23rd, so it's coming up pretty soon. However, the studio will host a beta in July before that date. This has been the big controversial one coming out of here.
Strangely enough, I'm not even. I know why, but I don't think it's that serious. As someone who's never going to play this video game, I don't even think it's that serious. But go ahead, Chad.
First of all, I went back and I watched the original announcement trailer for Concord because I was like, why are people upset that this is a 5v5 game? How did they? And it's like literally just like a vibes trailer. It's like, here's a
burger and a spaceship.
Like, yes, 80s theme, like colors and music and all that kind of shit. And I remember after watching it, I remember coming away from that trailer and being like, oh, that looks interesting. I could be into that. What is that? And then for them to start with this story trailer of all these characters, which I have no connection to or care about and didn't care for the dialogue, whatever. It just wasn't for me, that trailer. And then to show the gameplay, and I was like, oh, this is an Overwatch. And cool, I'm not into that. Like, it felt like, I don't know, I don't want to call it a bait and switch, but it felt like they did not set expectations well for what it actually ended up being.
Kind Because I think that's what most people's problem was, because they started with the theatrical cinematic trailer or whatever, which again, people are like, oh, very Guardians. Oh, is this going to be like you have a crew and it's so story heavy and like character heavy in that trailer to immediately just be like, oh, it's just a 5v5 shooter, which was like, that's why people I think are upset. Marvel Rivals I think looks good. I'm excited for Marvel Rivals, but I always knew what that was from the beginning. I wasn't upset like, oh, they promised me this, but then they didn't. That's cool. My main issue with this is that they were like, pre-orders go live on June 6th. I'm like, ooh, I hope you're not asking me to pay for this video game that you're trying to make this push into games as a service, which some of them are paid for. Again, Helldivers, I have no problem paying for that. It's a great game. But if it's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy at home versus I can play with real ass Star-Lord for free, I'm going to play with real ass Star-Lord for free on Marvel's Rivals. I'm not going to play it for this. I'm not going to play money for this video game. Again, but also putting it on Steam and PS5 at the same time, super smart because it's a multiplayer game and needs players.
Yeah. I think they, like, the one... I feel like this game is going to come out and tank because the player base is not going to be there, because it's not free to play, because Overwatch already exists, because Valorant already exists, because all of these other games already exist. But if there's one like ray of hope, is that people who play Overwatch a lot like are feeling really shunned right now by Blizzard, because Blizzard is canceling all the things that they talked about Overwatch 2 having, and they're like, hey, actually we're not going to do single player. Hey, actually we're not going to do this feature. And hey, so people are upset about that game. So maybe they'll capture a little small percentage of that audience here with Concord, but I don't know. We'll find out.
Maybe soon. We'll see. I think it's also, let's see, their beta is in July. Marvel Rivals beta is also in July, and Marvel Rivals is on every console. Yeah, we'll see. I'm with you. I'm not gonna say straight off that game's garbage. There's no chance. It could, but if you're asking me, proposition, free to play characters, game you have to pay for, people you don't know, doesn't mean that this one is bad just because I have to pay for it. But I'll be honest, I'm going to go the Marvel way. But if enough people, here's the thing, if enough people gravitate towards it and like it, that'll give me like, okay, well, people are playing, I got to play it. But they have to prove that. And getting all the hate is not helping them at the moment. But who cares what gamers think? It's really about how much people pay money for stuff. So.
Yep. All right, and the final one here that got me all horny. Team Asobi unveils a new Astrobot game coming September 6th. That is so much closer. I'm so scared. It's so much closer than it feels like it seems. Titled just Astrobot, Team Asobi's next project debuted an adorable gameplay trailer and explained in a PS blog post that players will explore over 80 levels spanning 6 galaxies as they look for Astro's missing crew. The trailer showed forests, sandy beaches, volcanoes as Astrobot ventured across various levels, and much like 2020's Astro's Playroom, the next project will include catchy music, references to robots that look familiar to several characters from existing PlayStation franchises like God of War and Parappa the Rapper. Adam has left the call. And we're back! Cool. Yeah, fun, weird internet, Ethernet, something issues. Who the hell knows? We are talking about... Is our stream still live?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, okay, cool. We are talking about Astrobot. So, this got me super excited. What I loved about the original Astrobot on PlayStation 5, the tech demo, was just like every time I saw the PlayStation Eye toy or, a PSP or something like I saw that, I was like, oh, fuck, the nostalgia for it. Oh, I remember that weird piece of hardware. Oh, I remember that. Like all the memories, as well as, the adorable, really engaging, cool gameplay with excellent use of the DualSense. So when I saw all of the, PlayStation characters as Astrobots, I was just like, fuck, I'm in. I don't care what this costs. I'm in. I want every single Kratos one. I want every single everything.
Yeah, when I was watching the trailer, because I knew what the big thing was. I was like, okay, that's the one people are excited for. I was watching the trailer, all right, cool, seems fun, we don't get a lot of 3D platformers. It started with them like flying on the controller. I was like, that gameplay looks fine. But then like about halfway through, they get to, all the buddies are here, and here's a bunch of like boss fights. And I'm like, okay, that's the 3D platformer shit I'm into. Like, bring me the hype and like fighting giant monster shit. So no, that game, that looks awesome. I think in a year where they were like, we're not going to have any major franchise games come out this year, I think pushing Astrobot as like check this out. This is our big thing for the year. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
We'll see how, I don't think it's going to sell as much as obviously like a Spider-Man or whatever, but I think it's going to be a good quality game, and I think people will be happy with it. So I'm excited for Astrobot. I think out of this entire thing, again, I've already measured my expectation for state of plays because honestly, they're normally like 90% not good and 10% good. I was like, that's a great way to end a state of play. That game is amazing. That's cool. That's exciting. And this other stuff is, Marvel Rivals. I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, this overall, it was a snooze fest for me in terms of what gets me excited. And I was like, that was fine. Until I had the thought today that I was like, oh shit, was that Sony's big E3 style summer conference? Did we just watch that?
Yeah,
and then I'm a lot more disappointed if that's the big showcase for the summer compared to whatever we see Microsoft or Nintendo show off in a week.
Yeah, if you had to get, I would assume they would not also do another thing. Maybe Keighley has like an announcement just because they remember, I think it was last year or 2 years, they had like State of Play, and then they also had Last of Us Remaster or Part 2, whatever it was, shown at Keighley. So Keighley probably has a thing. But I wouldn't be shocked if it was like, this is what you're getting for the year. Maybe we'll get a fun thing at Keighley's, and then maybe in like fall time we get a showcase or a State of Play showing like what's coming in 2025. Because I feel like if we get something in spring 2025, they don't have to show it in summer. They can show that in fall or winter to say what's coming out next year. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I would not expect anything else in the summer from them, except for maybe Keighley has an announcement. But again, if you're, there's a lot of video games. More people make video games than Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony. There's more companies out there making good stuff. But Astrobot, I think, is that should be a good game to hold you guys over on top of the other stuff. Again, play Marvel Rivals. That game's going to be cool. Yeah. You can play Adam Warlock and Venom on the same team, guys. What are we doing here?
And as we'll discover in this next segment, like there are plenty of games that we still have to play to hold us over the next several months, even if it's not PlayStation first-party ones. So let's jump into playtime. We're talking about what we played this week. Playtime, play. That's what we do when we talk about. We don't have an intro. We should have an intro for all of these segments. We should have something.
All right, you got to sing them all.
Okay.
Just do the Scooby-Doo song, but it's playtime.
Adam, I want you to talk me through all of your things first before we'll have a little spark of joy in here before I bring everyone down.
Oh boy, Chad, why you got to do that? So we haven't done one in a podcast in a while, and I had just been. So it's a thing where I will request codes or put my name in the hat for stuff, and then I'll randomly get it. Like, I forgot I did that. Well, I guess I'll do it. So a couple of these were codes I got, and some of them were other things. I played a lot over the last couple of weeks, basically. So first up, it's a little video game called 33 Immortals. Have you heard of it, Chad?
This is not anything related to Immortals of Avium. Or
no, it is not.
The Zelda Breath of the Wild ripoff, Immortals Phoenix Rising.
No, 33 Immortals was a showcase. I don't remember which one it was, but basically, it sort of looks like Hades, like the cartoon art style. But the idea is that like you go into these worlds, and there are 33. It's a 33 player co-op game.
Yeah.
So the open beta or whatever came out. I got into that and played it. And the idea is basically, okay, so sort of like Hades, you pick your class, you have different abilities, and it's all like, I'm a sword guy, I'm the magic guy, whatever. But there are 33 people in the world on a map. And as you die, that number gets smaller and smaller, and 33 people are working towards the goal of getting to the next level. It's basically, they explain it as, hey, those raid events in MMOs? This the raid event, the video game is what it is.
That's a cool concept.
Mixed with Hades. It's very cool. I liked it a lot. And the art style is cool. The fact that you literally can't solo stuff on your own. So basically it's like you got this big open map. You do things on the map. These portals open up. You go in the portal and fight like smaller bosses. Once that gets cleared out, you have to do so many of those, and you can go on to like the big boss of the arena. But again, it's just like, I don't need to do every one of those. And I actually can't do all of those because I'm not strong enough to fight all that stuff by myself. So you're on a map, again, there's 33 people, and it'll be like, okay, well, I'm in the top left, and there are people on the right side. They're just clearing out these dungeons and doing their own thing. I'm going to sit over here with my crew. We're just going to hang out. We're going to do one of these. We're going to do one of these little mini boss dungeons. And that's me helping the team out, because that's what we're doing over here. It's very cool. I like it a lot. I think that's a good idea for a game, to be like raid boss 33 player co-op. and you go through and you get your cloaks and you look good. I really like the magic class. I did that one a lot. Very excited for it. I believe that game is a day one Game Pass game because I think it was shown in an Xbox thing, but I played it on PC. But either way, it's
early access 2024 on Epic Games Store, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Game Pass for console and PC.
Yes, it's very cool. I enjoyed it very much. I'm excited to see the full game. Funny coming straight off of Hades, I was like, oh man, I'm not nearly as powerful or nearly as strong. But it's like, that's right, because we all have to work together. So that was a cool, interesting idea. And it was a fun, it's fun to get into betas early, you know? So I enjoyed that. Very cool. Next up, I got a code. So shout out to the PR team and developers. A little game called Venture to the Vile. Wait a minute. Let me double check my desktop to make sure that's what it's actually called. I believe it is called Venture to the Vile. Yeah, Venture to the Vile. Vile. It is a, tell me if you've heard this before, 2.5D Metroidvania game.
Oh, I have.
What interested me is we saw, this was at PAX East. So I went by the booth. I saw it. So you know where, what's the Souls game that I had played that you guys both took appointments for? That you ignored me.
It has a generic name.
Deathbound.
Yep.
So there was Deathbound, and right next to Deathbound was Venture to the Vile. So I'd played Venture to the Vile when I was just walking around the PAX floor. It's very cool. So the idea is sort of it's like, so it's a 2.5D Metroidvania. So, you know, you get your powers, you level up, whatever. But your guy's infected with this thing called the Vile, which is like this disease that is taken over the town. And it gives you like disabilities. And like as you put more of the Vile into your body, like you gain more abilities but you become more of a monster. That's fun and cool. And that you actually go into the background and the foreground, and it's actually like nice. So like I'm walking, one of the early levels is like a sanatorium. So like you walk through it and it's like, oh, let me go push, you know, again, it's 2D, but then you push back into the back hallway and you got a whole nother area. So that's very cool. But the main thing about this is that it is Tim Burton is fuck.
Yeah.
Where everyone wears masks of like different animals and stuff because like that's just what this weird town does.
Fucking like Alan Wake 2 with like.
Yeah, the little deer mask.
Yeah,
it's very Coraline / good Tim Burton is what I was thinking. But yeah, and then the Vile comes through and you get passed out and you wake up and it's like, oh, everything's gone to hell. It's post-apocalypse and there's monsters everywhere. And like the first boss you fight is like a dude who's like turned into a bunny, but he's still in a straitjacket, but he's like a 7-foot tall rabbit now. And you have to fight this really massive rabbit who's got all this gunk coming out of his body and stuff. It's really cool. It's weird as hell. But the actual gameplay Metroidvania part of it's like, oh, you guys are very good at this. Feels solid, feels very good, and it's just weird enough that it's like, okay, you're doing something a little different that I'm into. I haven't gotten super far. I'm like 2 hours in or so, but I'm digging it. You know, because you know I went to a movie theater and saw Beetlejuice, that trailer. I'm like, I remember when Tim Burton was good. Remember when Tim Burton made good movies? So it's like it's a very interesting sort of idea. I think I know it's on PC, but I think it also might be on something else. Maybe not. I'm typing into my computer.
So it says release date Steam 5/22/2024. So it came out on Steam.
That's the one I played.
But then there's also this like the Google overview of it says initial release date October 6, 2023 on basically all PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, Xbox. God, Google AI fucking sucks.
Dude, Google AI might be like the worst thing of all time.
So bad.
On this, it says PlayStation. I don't know if that's actually true, but I played it on PC. So just a big heads up. It's very cool. Very.
And there's no.
Weird.
I just want to click the thing and like, where did you get this information? Let me see the original place you got this information. I can't find it.
Google AI is the worst thing of all time. But Venture Vile, very good game. I think you guys should check it out. Again, 2.5D Metroidvania. But if you think Tim Burton's good and you go to Hot Topic on the regular, you should check it out. Next up, God, I hate when I do this to myself. L Demo. I remember it. Another PAX story, Chad. Remember when we went to PAX, right? Everyone was hanging out.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Some of us couldn't handle our substances.
Yeah.
But the first morning of PAX, I had a demo. I went to the hotel, which is next to the convention center, played a game called Lucid. And we talked about in our big PAX East show that Lucid was almost my game of the show. I only didn't do it because I was like, it's either this or the one that I gave it to. But I was like, man, Lucid should be on that list, but it's already getting awards. I want to give love to the other people. And then I got to the other people and they had 4 awards on the table already.
Right, we were standing in line to give them a trophy. of other people
behind someone
giving
else.
them trophies.
It was wild. But Lucid was the one that I took with the developer. Super cool guy. I like him a lot. And the demo, so the whole deal was that they were at PAX or whatever. They're with Apogee for publishing. And he was like, well, I got a Kickstarter. So whenever the Kickstarter comes out, people will be able to play the demo. But because I went in solemn or whatever, they gave me the demo, which is the thing that I played at PAX. And I can play more because during the demo, I can play 30 minutes. The whole demo is about 2 hours long. So I'm going to play the whole thing now. It's like, yeah, Lucid's good, y'all. That's fucking good. It is, for those who don't remember, they call it a Celesteoidvania. So it has the platforming of Celeste, but it does have combat and stuff like a Metroidvania. And it feels super good and super fluid. I got the full demo now. I'm like, yeah, dude, I cannot wait for you to finish this game and put it out because Lucid is dope as hell. So I was excited to play the full demo that I could not finish because I was being rushed because other people were behind me in appointments. So yeah, Lucid, very cool. I think you can still get the demo if you go on the Kickstarter. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, support them.
By the way, I found a Gematsu article from October of last year. Venture the Vial confirmed for PS5, PS4, sometime 2024.
Yeah, because that's on the website. I was just wondering when, but yeah, check that out when it comes there. Next up, though, again, another one. I just said, hey, because we talked about this. Whenever you go to PAX, you start getting 100 million emails. And I'm like, hey, you guys are going to send me all these emails. I'm going to start requesting codes. So I got one. I'd actually seen this on Twitter for like the last year. I'm looking at it. Apparently, it came out in 2020 on PC and Switch. But a new version just came out on Xbox this last couple of weeks. It's called Hypercharge Unboxed. Hypercharge Unboxed. Which the idea of so basically, do you remember playing the Army Men video games whenever on like the N64 and like the PS1, like back in those days?
I did not have those, but I did have Toy Story on Super Nintendo, and there was an Army Man level in there.
Okay, so this game, Hypercharge Unboxed, is legitimately like, think of the movie Small Soldiers, think of Toy Story.
Say, yeah, this looks like Small Soldiers.
100%. It is a 4-player. What's going on? It's loud as hell. It is a 4-player. Well, there's a campaign mode, and there's 4 players, and it's like not tower defense, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of tower defense-ish, but like third-person shooter, platformer kind of an idea. And then there's also like a competitive mode against each other. But yeah, it's just Small Soldiers, Army Men, those old games. Like you run around like a kid's bedroom, you're in a backyard, you're in a toy store, and you're like, you're shooting and killing the bad guys and defending these little hypercharge spots. It's a ton of fun. It's really fun, especially if you got friends. This is 100% like, do you have like some dudes to play a horde mode with and just like dick around? You can like make your little action figure guys and like unlock parts. And right now I basically play as She-Hulk. It's just like this green. I literally made her green, and she's got like the straps and stuff on her. And she's like, yeah, I'm playing as She-Hulk, running around the backyard shooting dinosaurs and stuff. Yeah, it's fun. She's like,
I'm already like, I'm looking at a Screen Rant article right now on how to unlock all the heads and skins for your like Crash Test Dummy, running around with a fucking rooster head. God, this looks like a game I could totally be into.
I'm telling you, this is like when I would used to go to friends' house, or we would go to Blockbuster and rent Army Men, Tank War, or whatever. There were so many Army Men games on the N64 that you drop you in like, oh, you're under the kid's bed, and you would just go around and shoot stuff as little green Army Men. And this game is that, but just like feels and plays a lot better. So shout out for that code too, because I was not expecting it. But I was like, you can send me these emails, I'm going to ask for it. And the game's a ton of fun, super cool. But it definitely very much is like, do you have friends to play this co-op shoot around game? Is because that's what the game is. But it's a good time. Next up, we got back into it. Me and my son, we've been waiting, right? You remember like when Jesus left? Wait a minute, I'm trying to remember how the gospel goes, right? So Jesus died. He came back to life 3 days later. What happened after he came back to life? Did he like ascend? He
probably was like, I need food right now. Somebody give me some pancakes. I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten in 3 days.
All I remember is that there's a whole thing about the second coming of Jesus Christ. So Jesus is gone for a long time, and he's going to come back and save the world or whatever. So me and my son, we've been waiting for the Messiah to return. And the Messiah is Bugs Bunny and Batman, because Multiverses came back in full release. And I've been having fun with that. It's Multiverses is basically Smash Brothers, but Warner Brother properties. Mainly try to do 2v2 matches is the main mode that they go for. Yeah, but having a good time with that. They have it's a free-to-play game, so they have like the whole season pass thing, but they're like, oh, since you played the beta, opened the beta that no one knew was a beta until they pulled it off the line, they're like, you get the free first season pass for free, and I just got Jason Voorhees for free.
Dope.
So I just hang out my boy Jason. He's a tank. Oh my god, he's so fun to play as. So yeah, I've been having fun with multiverses. It's definitely like not as good as Smash Brothers, but free if I don't have to play that game on the Switch, and I can actually play one of these kind of games somewhere else, a console I enjoy.
With a good internet infrastructure, that'd be great. Yeah.
Not too bad. And the game actually was a little bit glitchy because I think they had a lot of people. I think when it came back, it had like 110,000 concurrents on Steam right when it came back. So people are back into it. Because that was the thing when it first came out. People were into it. Then like a month later, people fell off of it. So we'll see if the free-to-play Battle Pass, new characters every whatever time keeps people around or not. But I've been having fun with it. All my people that I unlocked from originally were there. Having a good time. Just get in and do my dailies or whatever. Good times. And then the last thing, Chad, of my long list of video games I played. You know what I did? I'm upset at you just for being a man, just a normal man.
I need you to be normal man.
No, so last week I was one of 100 people in the U.S. who saw Furiosa in theaters.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
God, I'm just so upset that movie didn't. I mean, I was looking into it, and it's like, oh, it seems like basically every entertainment industry is down, but like game consoles aren't selling as well, video games aren't selling as well, movies aren't making as much money. It's like, oof, man, we'll see. Wolverine and Deadpool will save us, I hope.
Oh, but, dear Lord, please. That movie looks so good.
Regardless, I did watch Furiosa, enjoyed it quite a bit, and I was like, man, I'm in that mood. Because I watched Fury Road the night before, and then I saw Furiosa, and I'm like, you know what? You know what else? Mad Max the video game, everybody. Ooh, I brought it back. I started from jump, and I've almost 100% in Mad Max the video game in like the last week. I like the game a lot. Fun time. Because the thing that happened to us, no spoilers here, but there's a thing. There are people, places, and things, nouns, some people would call that.
Yeah.
That are mentioned in Furiosa Mad Max Saga. I was like, hold on a second. So Furiosa has before Fury Road, obviously, because it's about Furiosa being younger. Mad Max the video game happens before Fury Road, what Mad Max was doing before Fury Road. And then they say some names, and again, names, places, people, thing, nouns that are in Furiosa. Like, they did not mention that in Fury Road, and that is in the fucking video game. So I was like, you know what? You mentioned the video game. You made it canon. I'm going into the video game. So I've been playing Mad Max. Good. Oh, man, I love that car combat. Holy shit. It feels so good to
that was fun as hell.
Destroy people. So good. But
when did, that came out at the same time as something, and
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
They both came out at the same time. So it's a 2015 video game.
I played a ton of Metal Gear Solid 5, but I feel like I got to like within an hour or two of the end of Mad Max as well, but I never finished it.
Yeah, Mad Max's actual like story and stuff it's very fine. I think the open world game is good. The actual video game is whatever. It's cool. But basically, I want to talk about it to you later. But so the idea is I wanted someone to do a history podcast on it. Basically, George Miller, the director of Mad Max, had the idea for Fury Road for like 10 years or whatever, and they could just never figure out how to get the movie made, and eventually they got the movie made. But he had like storyboards of like, this is what happens in the world, this is what's going on. So like he already had an idea to like do an animated Furiosa movie like right after Fury Road came out, which eventually happened to the one that we just saw that took 10 years to make. But during that storyboarding stuff, they made this video game, which is why it seems like a 2015 video game would not be canon or related to anything, but it's completely canon because it's the exact same storyboard he used to make everything else. So it's just, I'll just say, there's Scrotus. Remember Scrotus, Chad?
Yes. Yeah. How can you don't remember anyone's name in that thing, but you remember Scrotus and you remember Rectus.
Scrotus and Rectus, let me tell you.
Those are memorable names.
Quote unquote spoilers. It's not a spoiler. So skip about 30 seconds. Scrotus, not in Fury Road. Scrotus in Mad Max the video game. Scrotus is in fucking Furiosa. I'm like, oh, okay. Y'all made that shit canon.
I was like, wait, or is it Rectus? Which one is...
Rectus is in Fury Road. He's the big dude.
Yeah.
With the mouth.
The one who looks like
thing.
Walton Goggins at home. is the
That's Scrotus.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
Scrotus.
okay. I was like, why do I not remember that guy? Was he dead in Fury Road?
Because hey, guess what? Play Mad Max 2015, you know exactly what happens to Scrotus. He looks completely different, doesn't sound the same, but that is the same guy. So, but anyways, yeah, Mad Max has been fun. So again, I've been playing. I'm just the meme of the guy with the limes. Too many video games the past couple weeks, but I've enjoyed all of it.
Hey everyone, go see Furiosa in theaters. Go support that shit.
You should.
And
it's good.
If you come across Joel Campos, don't fucking believe a single word he says. That movie was
does he not like Furiosa?
Fantastic. He thought he was. We'll find out why in a second. But
he also likes Malort, though. So you know how much can you trust?
Loves Malort and home running pizza, and prefers the frozen home running pizza to the restaurant version of home running pizza too.
He should live in Mad Max world. He's a fucking monster.
Yeah, he's fucking over there, probably drinking mother's milk and all this weird shit.
Ugh.
Yeah, you played a ton of shit. I played one shit. I played one shit. And Adam, I think I'm burnt out. I think I'm burnt out. Obviously, 2 days from now, this will all be completely moot because the final shape will be out and I'll be with my boys in Matt's basement.
Exactly.
Cramming this campaign down my throat. But there is I'm not gonna say it's a quote, but in 2021, January of 2021, Bungie. Oh, by the way, the game is Destiny 2. Surprise! If this is your first episode of the podcast, surprise!
Chat plays Destiny 2.
I'm addicted to Destiny 2. In 2021, January 2021, Bungie said, "Hey, we are doing away with the weekly specific challenges in the game, like the bounties and that kind of, like, we're getting rid of those because there was too much FOMO. People felt like they were completely behind if they did not play every single week and they missed a really critical thing or some important stuff. And so they've switched to this new system of 10 weekly challenges that will stay there the entire season. And you can complete them all at once at the very end of the season you want. You can work on them throughout. Doesn't matter. To help reduce the FOMO, reduce the feeling like I can't get away from this game. And that was really cool. I was like, cool. I love that you have that in mind. It allows us to play other things. Fast forward 3 years, and Final Shape is delayed by 4 or 5 months or whatever it's supposed to be. And they're like, how the fuck do we fill this void? Well, we have this new free thing called Into the Light. And we're going to make it up as we... here it is. It's 12 guns. But we're not going to release all 12 guns. We're going to release them 1 week at a time. There's 6 at first, and then 2, and then 2. And exactly, back to the weekly thing. I was like, okay, now we're going to do this new activity, which is fun. But every week I have to go grind the 2 new guns and do this new thing. Because Into the Light ends June 3rd, tomorrow. And everything goes away with it. I mean, these guns don't necessarily go away with it, but the shiny versions of them with the multiple perk pulls and all that kind of stuff go away. And they said at the same time, we're going to release this Pantheon event. And it's just a raid boss gauntlet. And every week we're going to add one more raid boss to it and make it even harder. And you get this cool, badass title of Godslayer when you beat it all at the end too. And a bunch of good shit. But anyway, weekly. And it gets harder and harder every week, which means you are not just running these bosses. You are running these bosses on a harder version. You're having to figure out new strategies. You're learning new mechanics. And it's not just the bosses. They have made them harder by taking all of the familiar things about them, like maybe where you do damage phase from, or maybe what enemies are around the corner and all that kind of shit. And they're like, oh, surprise, we're now putting tormentors there. Or all the places you used to stand on damage now light on fire if you stand on them for 3 seconds. All of that kind of shit. And so you have to then spend an increasing amount of time every single week for a month straight on this Pantheon thing if you want all of these amazing rewards and all of these guns and this title of Godslayer, which is the coolest thing on the fucking planet. And it has fueled an unhealthy drive in all of us. It is disgusting, Adam. And I was actually I was legitimately thinking in my brain, I was like, what is video game addiction? Let me go look up what video game addiction looks like.
It's just a picture of you in the dictionary.
It is. But it's like, it's forsaking things that are important for the sake of this game, which I have not, me and Audrey and Joel and Matt were doing this like shared workout plan for since January 1st. Guess who hasn't done one of those in probably about 3 weeks? Me. And I'd wager to say they as well. we're also, social engagements, calling those off. Last Sunday, I didn't do several podcasts because of this fucking Pantheon thing. Last Monday, I also didn't do a podcast because of this fucking Pantheon thing. It's eating into a little bit of work, a little bit, and it is becoming a problem. But it's because they've engineered this fucking thing in such a way that you have to do it before tomorrow. And what's made even worse, and the reason why I missed all of those podcasts specifically last week, is the terrible messaging around it. When they announced it all, they're like, hey, it's all going through June 3rd. Fast forward to last Tuesday, when we get everyone who plays the game gets a splash screen. This is the final week of Pantheon. Kill Nezarec. It'll be gone next week. And we're like, what?
Gone forever.
We thought we had 2 weeks left, and now suddenly we have to have it done by Monday night? And so we spent, Adam, in just last week, not the week leading up to right now, but just last week, 29 and a half hours on this fucking Pantheon.
On just Pantheon, though.
Just a Pantheon.
You could have played a whole Mad Max in that time.
Yeah. Sunday in particular, we played for 18 and a half hours in one day.
Oof.
It was.
Is that why Jerica's been tweeting like somebody asking for help, but like can't say help me, please?
Okay. Yes. And it is just so fucking frustrating. And Nezarec in particular, the 8th of the 8 bosses that we've been trying to kill for this fucking title, is this perfect amount of glitchy ass boss, which makes things difficult because he doesn't behave the same way every time due to random ass glitches. Awful, terrible mechanics, all the things you're familiar with, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, make it 20 power level under. Everyone's capped there. And it becomes this thing where you have to have the exact right loadout, the exact right weapons with the exact right mods on, which is a tough thing to do because we spent 29 and a half hours last week playing this thing together. And then people like Joel, who don't have all of these weapons because he's not a madman playing like the rest of us all the time, he had to go grind that throughout that week as well. When we weren't fighting Pantheon, he was out there grinding for all of these weapons and catalysts and shit like that. And then we just get to this point where we just don't have the character mate. Like, Joel and Alex are running these fucking orbs, but they're playing Titans because that's the only class that they have. And that really shouldn't be, and they're also the only people on our crew who know that route, and so they're running, and they shouldn't be running because they're Titans. They should be ad clearing. And then then we're like, cool, well you're running, but if you could just blind all of these things over here, that way we can get past them for damage phase without dying, blah blah blah. And then of course Joel doesn't have blinding grenade launchers, and it's like, well, we could switch you out with Jerica, but Jerica has never run this before, and Audrey's on her warlock because we need the well, but we should have. And meanwhile, you have people who happen to have 3 full characters. We spent all this time on 1 character each, most of us, and then there are people out there who have 3 characters with all of these guns and things leveled up. They're out there just like, cool, we just got 5 hunters together, and we all just put on Golden Gun and wiped them out in a few minutes. But we have now, on this one boss, not even the whole Pantheon, this one boss over the last 2 weeks, I personally have spent about 35 hours on a 6-minute encounter. If you do this right and you get it, it's 6 minutes. 35 hours, haven't cleared it. Last Monday, I did pay someone from some Spanish-speaking country to beat it for me so that I would make sure that I have the title. This was after we spent 18 and a half hours. We literally went to bed, Adam. Like I woke up at 6 a.m. to do this thing. And we went to bed and we could hear, there were birds chirping. Like we could hear birds on Alex's mic because morning birds were waking up in the middle of the morning. Like it was 2:30 my time, which means it was 5:30 Connor's time. He was on the East Coast. Yeah. And so we went to bed, quote unquote. And then Joel went to go see a 10 a.m. showing of Furiosa the next day. So that's why he hated it. Because he played for 18 and a half hours, eating probably fucking home run in pizza, got 3 hours of sleep after being just absolutely defeated by Nezarec over and over and over. And then
blame
he complained
Destiny,
about
don't blame Furiosa.
So, all that being said, Jarek and Audrey are still, the server shut off tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And that is the last opportunity. Jarek and Audrey are still out there right now. Can't post them in the chat right now, throwing out lies. They're out playing it right now. I finally last night, after 3 hours of trying again, every fucking night, it's like 3 or 4 hours of us of just smashing our faces against a brick wall. I finally had to say I'm done for good. I got what I needed, Audrey. It's $38. I'll give you $38 if you just let someone in another country play this for you and get it done in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We're adults. We have money. Like 100%. I don't do it often, but new Fortnite season came out. Playing a little bit of that because it's got power armor from Fallout. And I was like, I want to get that power armor. It's basically Mad Max season. And there's going to be Magneto. I 100%, if I get to the end of the season and I need to spend $20 to level up my battle pass to get the rest of the armor, you bet your fucking sweet ass I will. I'm not going to sit there for 15 hours playing Fortnite. I will give you $20 fucking to get power armor. Eat my ass. I will do it. So
what's funny though too is that Joel and Jerica also paid $38 to have someone do it for them, but they have then spent the last week going, I just feel like I'm incomplete. Like I paid the money and I have the thing, but I just need the satisfaction of killing Nezarec because it's driving me up a wall. I don't have that personal drive. But then there's also the there are a ton of times when I needed something and they stuck around to help me get that thing. But I've put over a day of my life into this guy. A day and a half of my life into this one guy. Is like, I gotta call it sometime. I can't anymore.
Wild stuff.
So yeah, that's also why you'll find out later. I don't have a game on Game Show because you're just doing that. This game has fucked me up in the last 2 weeks, and I'm so glad Pantheon is done.
Yeah, I'm glad for you that you can just play new expansion, have fun. Joel's in the chat again talking smack on. He literally says number 3 worst movie of all time. Chill out, bro. I will say though, Joel, me and Joel are going to be like you. How you were for Destiny, obsessed with the thing, man. College Football 25 is putting out all the information about that video game. Let me tell you what I'm about to play for 40 hours a week coming out in July. Me and Joel are going to be on there playing, taking over fucking Western Michigan, Tennessee State. Fucking going to the national championship. I'm all about it. It'll be exciting.
At least you'll make progress and you'll win sometimes. That's great. 40 hours a week, go for it. But yeah, to spend all that time and not even successfully do the thing just broke me. Oh, so yeah, that's all I played. I lied. I did play an hour of Hellblade 2. I want to play more of that, and maybe I will finally have an opportunity when I come back from Rhode Island in a week and a half. So,
yeah, you'll finish Hellblade and Final Fantasy VII Remake.
And right, I haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2 weeks. Oh my god, Jesus, Michael Christ! So let's move on to our quest log. Let's wrap up this podcast. PS plans for PC, says Wesley LeBlanc at Game Informer. PlayStation has reiterated its approach to releasing its games on PC, stating that live service games will launch day and date on PC. However, its tentpole single-player games will not. Funny story. There's a tiny aside. Tentpole is a very big thing, I guess, at big corporations and things like that. So tentpole single-player games. There was a person who worked on my team for a few months who was talking to project managers, program managers, really big, important people, and thought they were called tadpoles. And so he was going into these meetings talking about, all right, so aligning with this tadpole coming up in Q2, blah, blah, blah. And nobody said a word for months. Anyway, sorry. This comes from one of PlayStation's dual CEOs, Herman Hulst. Here's a quote. Indeed, we are bringing our titles to the PC platform, and we have a dual approach here. On the live service side, we are releasing our titles simultaneously, so day and date on PlayStation 5 and PC. But with our tentpole titles, our single-player narrative-driven titles, we take a more strategic approach, and we introduce our great franchises to new audiences. And we're finding new audiences that are potentially going to be very interested in playing, for example, sequels on the PlayStation platform. Yeah, build out a player base for your online stuff, and the big single-player things. That's what's driving hardware sales. Because we also learned, I don't know if this is in here. No, we also learned that PlayStation is currently making an additional $700 in revenue for every PlayStation 5 sold, just based on video games people buy, accessories, PlayStation Plus memberships.
Well, you got to remember, PlayStation Plus Extra Premium is $700 a month, so people get it for 1 month, and they made their money.
Sucker a guy in for 1 month, boom, you made up your money. So.
Well, no, I mean, obviously this makes sense. I think, obviously, for multiplayer, you got to do it day one. You want that player base. Putting the single players on there later makes sense. It's just an extra bump. I love the end part here. Knowing how PC players and how stubborn they are, I don't think someone's going to be like, well, I played the one video game on my PC, and I own 10,000 over here on Steam, but I'm going to go buy a PlayStation to play the next one. They're not going to do that. But maybe you'll get somebody. But regardless, I think you just got to putting stuff on PC gives you more money. Putting stuff more places gets you more money, especially for that multiplayer. You got to do that day one. So, yeah, it's a good move. Good idea. Yeah, obviously. No duh. These two news stories are no duhs of the week. Like, come on, let's go.
Last quest here. Of course, it's going to be on Game Pass. That's Charles Hart from Game Informer. Black Ops 6 was officially revealed last week, and while it was reported to be in consideration for a Game Pass launch, today the news was confirmed from Xbox itself. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will launch on Game Pass day one. A trailer ends with the game's full title, along with a reminder that the full reveal will come on June 9th, 1 week from today, after Xbox's Summer Showcase.
That is 1 week from today. I forgot that Summer Game Fest was basically this weekend.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Well, this week,
I mean, again,
Thursday is the Keeley show.
Oh, is that his kickoff, whatever he's doing in first? Yep. Nope. I mean, again, it's that thing where, Chad, because we live on the internet, we live on gaming internet, right? Where everyone's like, oh, they closed down these studios, which means that Game Pass doesn't work. And if they don't get 15 million new subscribers by the end of the day, they're going to, it's like, no. Like, they probably, again, Microsoft's like, we need to cut costs. Bethesda, figure it out. And then their whole plan from the beginning was to buy these studios to put games on Game Pass so that we can sell the games, or you can pay us every month for Game Pass. So, of course, this game was going to be on there. I don't know why anyone think it wouldn't be. The people will subscribe, and then the people who don't subscribe will just spend money like they do every year. So they're probably just fine. So it's also, again, a no duh of the week. Like, obviously, it was going to be on there, and then you will also still buy it on PlayStation. They're going to live. They'll be fine.
It's an interesting proposition for Call of Duty on Xbox, where you do still need what they call Game Pass Essential, what used to be Live Gold
Core, I think.
Yeah, Xbox Game Pass Core or something like that. You do still need that to play online, and then at that point you're faced with the choice of like, well, do I pay $70 for the game, or do I just up my Xbox Game Pass a few dollars a month
to Ultimate
in order to add Call of Duty to my library for as long as I'm a subscriber? And it's like, oh, that's an interesting choice then. And then of course the value proposition comes in. You're like, well, not only do you get Call of Duty, but you also get blah 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 blah.
No.
So yeah,
if they can convert some of the casual, again, the general casual gaming audience is, I've got to assume, is 70% of the spending audience, because you look at the best selling games of the year and it's always the same games that your cousin buys at GameStop 3 times a year. My assumption is they will convert some of those people to giving them money every month, and they'll forget about their subscription because they're just playing Call of Duty. Or they won't, and then they'll just give them $70 for the video game anyways, and which goes money in your pocket. So win-win. But I think this is good just for me on a personal note, because like my son, me and him play Warzone because that's the free-to-play version, so you don't need it. It's fine. But this actually being on Game Pass means we will actually play the multiplayer to upgrade our gun and play. This will be the first Call of Duty I've played in fucking forever. But again, mostly for him because he wants to play online with his friends, upgrade his guns, and then just play Warzone anyways. So it's good for me. Again, as a dude who's already paying for it, this is just more value for me. So yeah, good for me. But again, it's like, yes, they bought. You think that they spent that much money to not put the games on the subscription service that makes them money? Yeah, okay, guys. All right, internet, good one on that one. All right.
That brings us to our segment. Oh shit! There's a song for this one.
What are you thinking, bud?
In my brain, I'm like, is there like an Xbox jingle or an Xbox song? And then there's not, but there's that like just the Xbox.
Like the boot up sound or whatever.
Yeah, the boot up is just, and within the little logo spins around and just goes swing. But you can't turn that into a song for segment from Adam unless you go segment from Adam.
Why don't you do Scooby Doo?
Segment from Adam. Who are you? Our website about Bibles.
You know, so funny earlier that you mentioned that like in January of 2021, Bungie said this. I'm like, January 2021 was also the last time they updated that website. So very funny.
Oh,
but yes,
January 2021 was also the insurrection, January 6th.
Right.
Do you think the owners of that website went to jail?
Who knows? Maybe so. Maybe not the guy reviewing the movie saying there weren't enough women in them. But anyways, segment from Adam this week. We're going to go over the best games of the month. By the way, this in the indie video game circle, people are like, yo, May is like the apocalypse. It's like it's an all-out brawl. Yeah. And looking at these scores, it's like, holy shit, indie games had a good month, man. So even though Chad was forced to play Destiny for 50 hours in 2 weeks, indie games were out here doing the thing. Number one, and these are all Metacritic scores. The number one game for the month is Animal Well, sitting at a 90. Very hard to hit a 90, so shout out to Animal Well. Good for them. Chad, you will eventually play that probably 2 years from now. I made a joke about on Twitter. You're like, I'm going to play this game. I'm like, after this, and this. Saying you would never play it. But yeah, very good game. I'm excited to try that out one of these days. I'm shocked I have not played. I haven't even played the demo. I didn't play any at PAX. I didn't do anything. I've not.
Apparently, it's only like 6 hours long, too. Well, 6 hours unless you dive deep into the...
Are trying to do everything.
And then it's like 100 hours.
This one, I'm upset I didn't get on my Fantasy Critic. I just forgot to put in the bid for it. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes at an 88. It's a very cool indie game. People were like, yo, this is going to be one of the better games of the year. And I was like, I'll do that on my Fantasy Critic. Never did. Paper Mario, The 1,000-Year Door, also at an 88. That one is on my Fantasy Critic League and got me some nice points. I'll take it. Mullet Mad Jack at an 87, which I believe is like a Doom-like game. Old school Doom-like game. I might be wrong, but I think that's what it is. 1000X Resist at an 85. People keep talking about it, but it's always the people who are into those kind of games. So if you want to Google it with safe search on, look up 1000X Resist. Next up was Crow Country at an 83. That is the throwback to PS1 Resident Evil type game where you're in an amusement park. Seems very cool. The game that Chad was interested in, not interested in, scored very well. V Rising was an 83 for the month. That was the game that they showed at one of the play. You're like, that's cool, but it's a survival
it was
game.
A vampire game, and then it's like, survival game. It's like, nope, I'm not about to go chop down fucking trees.
But folks are into it. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 at an 81. Exact same score as the first game, which I happened to look up. It's like, interesting, makes sense. Duck Detective Secret Salami at an 81. Best name for a video game of all time. And Indica at an 80, which is an indie game about like being a nun, but then there's like a lot of weird shit happening besides just being a nun. So, very good list. A long list for normally we only get like 3 or 4. And again, I'm going to say 90%. That's not how math works, Adam. About 75% of these games on here are indie games, which is like, shout out to indies for fucking putting out bangers all the time.
Yeah.
Did you look up 1000X Resist as I was talking?
I did. I saw a lot of art of the main woman, but not any like screenshots of what the game was.
I'm trying to think. Was this the Aegis Rim people? Like, I think it's... maybe it's not. Again, fucking here, Google AI with the bullshit. I just want the real answers, please. Who is it from? All right, I'll just click on it on Steam. Click on the video game and see their other video games. It's a thrilling sci-fi action adventure game. Disease spread by an alien. I'm just trying to think if it was like a visual novel type game or not. But it's like...
It kind of looks like it might be. Yeah. I see a lot of the... So I typed in a better search result, and now I'm seeing some gameplay. And it's a lot of dialogue choices and looking at people talking and...
But there's also like sci-fi weird action stuff going on. But people are into it. Scored very well. I will say, this list, an amazing list of games. For game of the year consideration, I don't think you'd be wrong for trying every single one of these except for Paper Mario. Again, Paper Mario is a good game, but I don't consider that for game of the year stuff. I think everything on here you could consider and probably be happy with. Like, that's a wild list. Even the salami game. I think especially salami game. But no, I think Animal Well will probably be on a lot of indie game of the year list.
Yeah, I think so
Lorelei will be cool.
The conversation around that game, and even the way the game looks itself, honestly, reminds me a ton of Fez. Did you ever play Fez?
A little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was a really cool thing where someone was playing on PC and they had like a small window. When you jiggle the window, everything in the world moves, like with physics to it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I think Senua will probably get a lot of nods for like visual, because fucking visual, holy shit. A video game that looks like a fucking... They spend all their time making the video game look good. Yeah, I think probably performance and visual stuff, Senua will probably get some nominations for that. But honestly, I think everything on this list is legitimately worth playing. So... Good month for us.
Yeah.
Too bad we're all playing Destiny and
Senua's
watching videos about college football 25. No, go ahead.
I'm excited about Paper Mario, excited about Hellblade. I want to play Animal Well, at least for 5-6 hours to beat it. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, I heard really great things about too. Crow Country heard really great things about, so I kind of want to give those a try. There's just so much shit.
I know, not enough time. And then you said, so Cozy's not here, so we can't have his KKK.
Cozy's not here. We don't have a game on game show.
KKK? Someone changed it to KKK.
Who? I promise you that was not me. Cozy's Question Corner was the original name until I told him, let's not make it KKK. And then he was like, oh, who did? There's a way to see track changes? Oh, we all log into this thing anonymously anyway. Damn it.
Yeah, who knows? That's funny. It probably was me. So yeah, no game on game show, no Cozy. So that's the end of our podcast. Chad, I guess you'll leave us out of here.
Yeah, that's it for episode 356 of Respawn Aim Fire. You have some homework. Go to patreon.com/Respawn Aim Fire. Surprise, I'm behind on posting the RAF game show this month. I bet you can't guess why. But that'll be up tonight because I'm going out of town on Tuesday morning, so that has to go up. So yeah, you have a RAF game show. What the fuck even was it?
Oh, it's Locked and Loaded.
Locked and Loaded, yes, Locked and Loaded with some people who I was on the show, so I don't know who it was. So who was it?
It's so fun. So you got to get on Patreon to check it out. First of all, like the first round of questions, I don't know what Cozy did. They were eradicated because his computer crashed in the middle of us recording. So we start part way through. But we had Tim DeMuse from Time to Die Network, right? You might recognize Time to Die. Oh, that's the thing Brian did.
Yeah.
Brian showed up, but I didn't tell Tim that Brian was showing up until they got there.
Nice.
So, and that was hilarious because Tim hates Brian, or they love each other. I can't tell. And then Baron was on my team. Baron from Level 1 Gaming, met him at PAX. Met him at PAX West 100 times and met him at PAX East as well. So yeah, Baron, Tim, and Brian were all on that. And it's the Locked and Loaded is the How to Be a Millionaire type quiz question game. So yeah, we had a good time with that.
And I believe last month I auto-scheduled these to go live on the 1st. So the current public game show, I'm going to youtube.com right now because you can't auto-schedule to go from unlisted to public. So I do have to manually switch that over. But anyway, that's open for everyone who is not a podcast Patreon subscriber. And that was... What the hell happened before? What
Pitch Perfect, the Pokemon Engine one.
Oh, yes, the Pokemon Engines one. Oh, man. So much injustice happening on that episode. Fucking makes me want to eat eyeballs. Makes me want to fucking scoop their eyeballs out with a spoon and eat them.
Check it out, though.
Oh, but it's so much fun. Lots of really creative stuff. Yeah.
Great Pokemon. That was with CG Danny B and Dave Jackson. From Tales from the Backlog. Shout out. My episode of Cyberpunk on Tales from the Backlog comes out June 5th. I just remember that right now.
Oh, dope.
That's like a 3-hour walk. It was fucking, I just kept on talking, man. You know what I'm saying? Yep.
And while you're on Patreon, you also, if you're listening to this right now, go vote. I have not put up the poll yet, but I'm thinking, Adam, June is a busy month. Destiny Final Shape comes out. Destiny Raid comes out. I'm going to be in Rhode Island for a week. Cozy's at IGN Live. So it's a busy fucking month. So here's what I think I'm gonna do. Obviously, this will all be. It doesn't matter because people listening to this on demand on Tuesday, this is already live, and you don't have to listen to me talk it out. I'm thinking like free to play live service games that we haven't played as options. Okay. Where they're like not something you can beat, but like, hey, let's play a game we haven't played before. That's not a huge commitment. They're like play some rounds. Pretend that you're interested in it and try, and like if you actually committed time to this thing, would you enjoy it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I might come up with a list of 4 of those and put those up on Patreon tonight, and we'll know by next weekend what we're playing.
Dope.
So it's a little bit more loosey goosey. That's what's happening. Yeah, pray for me. Pray for us.
Jesus, I need help.
What's funny is that, like, it's also not funny, but it's also funny, is that right after this, I'm going to sync all of this, edit it, and export it, and then while it's uploading to YouTube, we're all on Destiny 2 tonight. Cleaning up all the shit before the servers go down tomorrow morning so that we can start fresh and...
Like, man, I stopped doing heroin, Tuesday. But I do have to go shoot up heroin in the back real quick.
Yeah. Well, this is the last time we get this current flavor of sweet black tar Mexican heroin. So, you know, then we get, I don't know, some Colombian heroin.
You got to do it then.
Yeah, Joel's currently playing, as he says, as he types it in the chat. And I know Matt and Dallas are talking about burning the Midnight Oil for them, too. So I'm sure Jerica and Audrey are still fucking trying to fight Nezarec right now, too, with a bunch of randos.
Just pay somebody. Good Lord.
Yep. So that's it. Until next time, everybody. Like, actually consider your health.